Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of the Prediction Show. It is November the 6th. Congratulations to Donald Trump, it looks like, as I record this. Landslide victory incoming. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't hit me up in the comments. I'm not American. I have no horse in the race. And also, congratulations to this person. You have won a month of Odd Alerts Pro. President of America or Odd Alerts Pro? I know what I'd rather win. It's the free month of Odd Alerts Pro, and the same applies for this video. Just comment down below and you'll be entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro. Pro, below, video, there's too many rhymes. I'll make it easy for you once more because I've got a question. What is the score going to be? And you can pick the game, but I'm going to ask you about Inter Milan versus Arsenal. What do you think the score is going to be there? Because Odegaard potentially back in training, but he is back in training. I don't think he'll be risked in this one. Inter Milan have won 9 of the last 10 games. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Arsenal, that's for sure. But another interesting game is PSG versus Atletico Madrid. We will cover that in our bet builder. The bet builder that I've got in another tab is odds of 10 at the moment, as I've just gone through games and picked what I feel will happen, and then I'll explain all of that, and then we'll try and cut it down a little bit. You can obviously take from it what you like. I'm not a tipster. I'm just trying to show you how to research and find games using odd alerts and hopefully put together some sensible bet builders. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So we will take a look at the fixtures first. Aston Villa looking to make it 4 out of 4, of course, and if you fancy them to do it, they are pretty good odds. We'll take a look first at the probability model on the stat scroller here, and then we'll switch to the odds. But Aston Villa are over evens to win this game. Now, Club Brugge, in terms of the last 10 games, 7 have ended with BTTS landing, so that could be something to look out for. Villa and BTTS, the odds are going to be maybe 3s or higher if the odds for a win for Villa are over evens. Now, those of you that like to put on Duran to score any time in these cup competitions, just know there is a video circulating of training yesterday where Duran and Emery are kind of having a bit of a heated debate. Emery walks away, Duran's left with his arms up in the air. So that might be something, or it might be nothing. Shakhtar Donetsk against Young Boys completes the 5:45 games. You can see a very high rating there for over 1.5 goals in terms of the model. It is the highest rating for tonight's games, actually at 83.5%. Sparta Praha are the ones playing with a Brest this time. And then the game below that, Stuttgart, Atalanta. We looked at Stuttgart in the previous video as it was thrown out by the bet slip generator as a home win value bet. And I think there's value here for the double chance. We'll take a look at both of these teams in a minute because they are both in fantastic form. PSG against Atletico Madrid is an interesting one. Atletico Madrid struggling at the moment for goals. They've got 12 in the last 10 games. And just for a bit of context, across the teams that are playing tonight in the Champions League, only Salzburg and Young Boys have managed fewer goals across that period. And for PSG, they've played 3 times in the Champions League so far this season. 0 games have seen over 3 goals, so under 2.5 goals in every game so far. So bear that in mind, as we will come back to that when we look to put our bet slips together. Inter Milan Arsenal, exciting game there, of course. Give us your predictions in the comments to automatically be entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro. Odegaard back in training, Declan Rice potentially out for this one, and Inter Milan more than capable of winning this game, I think, and more than capable of scoring here. And, you know, at the same time, it's not the end of the world for these big teams if they do go away from home and lose a game or draw a game. Of course, Arteta will want to win this game, but I don't think they're in the best shape at the moment, Arsenal. Feyenoord against Salzburg, that should be a good game. I would expect Feyenoord to get the job done there. And then this last couple of games here, we've got Barcelona away at Red Star. I'm going to call them Red Star because that is just impossible for my brain to even try and begin to say. Bayern Munich, Benfica. Now there is an interesting statistic here with these teams. So across the last 10 games, as we've been looking at recently on these videos, the top goal scorers are Bayern Munich with 35, Barcelona with 33, Benfica with 31, and Red Star with 31, and they are all playing in that couple of games there. So hopefully we see goals. Hopefully we don't get a couple of 0-0s. We'll dive into these games in a minute because I think there is some exciting possibilities. So we'll start with the Atalanta game, shall we? And we'll go straight to the results so you can see the form that these two teams are in. If you look at all competitions, Napoli, 2 clean sheets there. And actually, if we just look at the Champions League, they've got a clean sheet in every single game. Now, what is interesting, especially about the most recent result, you might think, bloody hell, they've gone to Napoli and won 3-0, which is, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic result. But in that game, they had 3 shots on target, so they were just super clinical, and that can happen sometimes. It's still a fantastic result, but if you look at the shots on target for, they had 3 shots on target, they scored 3 goals. So fair play to them. Stuttgart, 1 shot on target in their away game recently. So I think this actually could be a bit more tighter than some people think. People might gravitate towards goals instantly, given the way that Atalanta have been playing recently. Stuttgart come into this unbeaten in 4 games, and that includes an away win at Juventus, which is something they will hope to emulate in terms of the performance tonight. And Atalanta, as we saw, great defensive record, looking to make it 4 clean sheets in a row. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. So we'll take a look at the odds then before jumping to another game. We've got BTTS here 1.67 for Aston Villa. Club Brugge, as I mentioned, 7 of the last 10 games, and you've got to factor in the league and whatnot when you think about these potential options. If we scroll down a little bit here, BTTS in Atalanta Stuttgart 1.44. I think that's pretty low, to be honest, especially given Atalanta's defensive record in recent times. PSG Atletico Madrid over 2.5 goals is 1.8. Under 2.5 goals is evens, and bear in mind that 3 out of 3 so far has ended that way for PSG. We are going down that route slightly, not as crazy as under 2.5 goals, as you'll see on the bet slip in a moment. Inter versus Arsenal, I'm not going to touch this game. This is a game that I just want to try and enjoy. I think if you look at Arsenal in the Champions League so far this season, this could be a 1-0, 2-0, 1-1. You know, I don't think it'll be a crazy game. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. I might be completely wrong. Feyenoord, I expect them to win, as do the bookmakers, 1.55 there. Red Star against Barcelona, BTTS 1.95. Interesting. Barcelona got a good defensive record recently, but as we saw, Red Star, one of the better teams in terms of goal scoring in recent times. They also scored against Benfica in the Champions League recently, and it's been a very long time. We're talking years since they have not scored at home. So bear that in mind. Could Barcelona be the first team to stop them scoring at home in a long time? BTTS 1.95. Bayern Munich, Benfica. The bookies kind of expecting Benfica to go there and upset Bayern at some point. But Bayern, you would expect them to maybe win 3-4-1 or something, 4-2. But we will look at this one now because Benfica have been impressive across the Champions League recently. They had that victory against Atletico Madrid, didn't they? 4-0. And then Feyenoord at home, 3-1. I don't think anybody was expecting that. So this is just showing really what the Champions League can do and how it is very difficult to gauge where these teams are at based on the competitions that they come from, whether it's the Eredivisie, whether it's the Bundesliga, whether it's the Premier Division in Portugal. The competition is very different in each of them. And for Bayern Munich as well, they're the only team you would think this season that are going to be challenging for the title. It certainly looks like it. Leverkusen having that sort of second season syndrome. I think they're already 7 points behind Bayern Munich now. So it's difficult when you're so dominant in a league to then come into the Champions League. It takes a great coach. It takes great mentality to do that, especially when you come up against, they came up against Barcelona and it was 4-1, they need to really, really bounce back from that Bayern Munich. And they've actually lost 2 games now because they lost to Aston Villa as well. 9-2 in the first game, Dynamo Zagreb. I think this Benfica team is probably going to be somewhere in between, isn't it? They're certainly better than Zagreb, but are they as good as Aston Villa or Barcelona? I don't think so. Now, when we look at the last 25 data, and we're looking at overall form here, but just watch what happens to Benfica when I go to the away form. The goals scored drops quite dramatically to 1.36 per game, but they have got a good defensive record. But again, the caveat is that this is based on domestic form with a few Champions League games sprinkled in there. If you want to take a look at their results, you can do. And I'll just show you a new feature here as well. So away from home, you can see they score in the majority of games. They did have a bit of a bad run, to be fair, across, it looks like towards the end of last season, they had a pretty bad run. But they've started this season in good form, apart from that Feyenoord defeat. The new feature that I added yesterday is the ability to view fouls on this results table. So you can see total fouls in a game, you can see fouls won, and fouls committed as well. So away from home, fouls committed, you would say the average is around 10 or 11 there for them. Bayern Munich, you can see that they committed just 2 fouls against Union Berlin, probably because they had a lot of the ball, which is just giving me another idea. I can plot possession on here as well, so that's something I might do today. Stay tuned to X for that update. So here are my selections based on the data and based on my research. I didn't show it all because I'm a bit rushed for time on this video, but I hope you've still enjoyed some of the data that I showed you and the stats that I read out. So most cards at Benfica, both teams to score. Now I don't suggest you put all these on, I'm looking to split it up, and I just wanted to show you it in this form before it was broken down and before I removed any, because this is just generally what I feel is good value today. So Benfica to get the most cards and BTTS 2.8, you could say that's a good single. Under 4 goals in PSG versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid struggling for goals, as we talked about at the start of the video, just 12 in the last 10. That is the third worst in the Champions League at the moment. Red Star to get the most cards. This one, again, I thought it was good value at 1.61. The data will say that Red Star don't get many cards, but again, you've got to factor in that they are a dominant team in their respective league, and Barcelona do not come to town all the time. So this will be a slightly different game. Barcelona, if they can keep the ball, they will frustrate. I expect Barcelona to win this game as well. But for the home team, if you've got Rafinha running at you, if you've got Lamar running at you, if you've got Lewandowski about to pull the trigger, then you're going to do what it takes to stop that. And I think they'll get at least a couple of cards in this game. And Barcelona, if they can dominate the ball, that usually means fewer cards for the team that has the majority of possession. Stuttgart and Atalanta under 4 goals. As I say, I think that'll be a pretty tight game. Stuttgart have been very good defensively, and I think they'll look to repeat the performance that they showed, not just against Juventus but against Leverkusen as well, just keeping things tight and trying to nick the game. And they're just looking to qualify, aren't they? If they can qualify for the knockouts, that'd be fantastic for them. Atalanta, we know they can score on the road, and look, under 4 goals, it's not the end of the world if it's 2-0, 3-0, right? 3 goals is okay because it's still under 4, so it's a nice bit of protection. But usually that market there, under 4 goals, it's usually about 1.2, 1.3 for Atalanta. So that's why I thought that was pretty good value there at 1.61. So 10.55. So let me have a think and see what can be removed to get it to around 3s or 4s. So I've taken a few options off. I've kept the team to get the most card markets. I really do feel that Benfica and Red Star Belgrade will commit quite a few fouls as they unfortunately, succumb to a defeat. I think Bayern Munich will have enough to get over the line against Benfica. I think it's a massive game for Vincent Kompany, to be honest. And Barcelona just looks so good at the moment. And Stuttgart Atalanta, well, I discussed that one in length. 4.56. I think the odds are pretty good at the moment, given the teams and the situations. Let me know what you think about that one. Will you be going for the previous option of 10.55, was it? What we're going to do now is take a look at the player props tool just to show you how you can use that if you're looking at doing some player props bets as well for tonight. And let me know what you think. I'll see you in the comments. So the player props tool, here it is, and I'm just going to give you a quick demo of how you can use it. You can see as you scroll down, there are so many games, so many options. We've got the Europa League, Conference League. It is all in here. The list is actually endless of all the fixtures and all the players. When you click on a game, let's say we click on Club Brugge versus Aston Villa, maybe you're looking at some Club Brugge players for shots on target. That's where the value might be. John Duran, we mentioned the training bust-up potential. Will he play? Won't he play? What it's doing is looking through over 100, 200,000 players, depending on how many games are active right now on Bet365, and it is showing you every player ranked by a certain stat. Now we can look at just Club Brugge and Aston Villa, and we can see John Duran, and if you wanted to click on his profile, you just open it, you can look at, let's say, last 10 games, and we can see he's scored 5 goals from just 3 starts on the bench. He's been subbed on in 7 games. You can see his data across that period as well, or you can look at his fixtures. and see which games he's scored in, which games he has been brought on. Shots on target here as well. You can see the keys here. We've got shots and shots on target. Yellow cards also displayed. And I'm going to make some updates to this so that you can actually change these. Similar to the stats scroller, but for players. So you'll be able to say, I want fouls on it, I want tackles, I want passes. I'm just doing the design in Sketch at the moment because it's hard to assign an icon like this to a pass or to a foul. You know, what icon do you use? Do you just use an F? It's a bit of a strange one, but that's where I'm at with that. So you can expect that to launch in a week or so. And if you want to look at all players in the world where markets are available on Bet365, just click all fixtures at the top here and it will go away and literally search every player, and it's sorted by goals because, you know, that's what we want first and foremost. And it's not just men's football, it is women's football that's included as well. We've got Sam Kerr here, and a Meridian for Porto, 0.89 goals in his last 18 starts. We're looking at the last 20 games here. Let's look at the last 5 games, because I imagine Erling Haaland will now be nowhere to be seen. Haaland's, you know, where has he gone since Rodri's been injured and De Bruyne's not feeding him? If we look at total shots on target, we can see in the last 5 games, Lionel Messi, 15 shots on target in his last 5 games. Kudus, 13 in his last 5. He missed one, didn't he, from being banned. Osimhen, now that is a good segue into a potential video tomorrow if you hit the like target, because Osimhen is playing against a Spurs team without Van de Ven and without Romero. Romero yet to be seen, but he went off with a toe injury, which I don't know if he'll be risked. And Osimhen playing against Ben Davies and Dragusin, he's going to be licking his lips, isn't he? Moise Kean there for Fiorentina in good form as well. It's a good way to discover players, this as well. Borja Sainz for Norwich, he is a very good Spanish player, quite young still. Erling Haaland, 11 shots in his last 4 starts. He's still getting shots on target, but as we saw against Bournemouth at the weekend, he's not putting them away, or the keeper is playing a blinder against him. Harry Kane, will he score tonight? Odds are probably terrible, aren't they? Let me know what you're on tonight. Just wanted to quickly show you the player props tool there. If there's users, viewers that have not checked it out yet, you can get to it by going to oddalerts.com and you'll see a link at the top of the page. And if you're still watching at this point, then I have a reward for you. You can use the code YouTube when checking out to get 15% off Odd Alerts Pro, which comes, you know, with features like this one, Pinnacle dropping odds as well, another profitable system, value betting, automated alerts, player foul alerts, referee appointment alerts as well, and many more features. Back testing, quick filters, is all there. Alerts on live odds, of course, that's what started it all. It's called oddalerts.com, but I mean, there is a lot more to it right now. So let me know what you think about these Champions League games in the comments, and I will see you there. I reply to most of them if they are replyable, if you know what I mean. If you've got an interesting take, let me know and I'll reply. I read them all anyway. Some of them are just like, hello. What do you want me to do with that? Seriously.